Is this 2007 Mercedes SLK55 the most underrated sports car Cars and Bids has ever tried to auction? Or is it just a bucket for boomers? We'll find out right now. Bid Nerds is your daily YouTube car game show, where we predict the online auction results of the most interesting cars on Bring a Trailer, Cars and Bids, Hagerty Marketplace, and more. It's just like the Price is Right game show. Play along and see if you can beat the nerds. We have predictions to make right now. This first car on the list, we have stories, but let's go ahead and get to that first car on the list. What do we got, Michael Deep?
All right, JP, selected for us is a 2007 Mercedes Benz SLK AMG. This car is listed on Cars and Bids, Doug DeMuro's site, on a clean Arizona title out of Phoenix, Arizona. Our car is showing 85,000 miles. It is in obsidian black, and of course, these are all retractable hardtop convertibles with automatic 7-speed transmissions. The big news here is that Mercedes took a very old American idea and stuffed one of their biggest performance motors into one of their smallest platform chassis. In this case, it's a 5.4-liter V8 that is pumping out a respectable 355 horsepower and a whopping 376 pound-foot of torque, all to the rear wheels through that aforementioned 7-speed automatic transmission. Our car has been upgraded with Bilstein B8 Performance Plus dampers, 19-inch Ace alloy wheels that are painted a shiny black to match the color of the car. And that's basically it. The big story here, JP, is that it's poor photography. It's a car that has never really done well in the secondary market. And this car looks like it's got at least a lot of freeway miles, showing 85,000 miles. A lot of cars like this tend to be secondary cars or weekend cars for families. And oftentimes when a car like this comes to market, they show unusually low miles. But this car has been driven. And these cars don't bring the money, so I'm curious to see what's going to happen here. I think this car could be had for a song if you're interested. So, JP, I send it back to you. Why on earth did you select this car? I've picked a few of these before that had low miles with good photography that I thought might do well, and they never do. I don't think this one stands a chance. So where are you at, JP?
This car I picked because, look, this is not a car that I think anyone in the studio is really going to dig, right? But I know I'm just going to tick off a bunch of people. The fans of SLKs are the most rabid, crazy, most biggest lunatics in the car world.
Yeah.
We did a video on one of these about a year and a half ago. And then for those of you who are familiar with the channel, we do this live show twice a week, right? Every Sunday night and every Wednesday night. But then a lot of times we'll make clip shows where I'll take the prediction and the reconciliation. I'll marry them together to make one video. So we have one of those for one of these about a year ago. And I think it might be, or at least it was for the longest time, the most watched video we've ever done. And I'm like, we talk about 959s, we talk about Singers, we talk about Ferraris, we talk about the most interesting cars that exist in the world, and the video that gets the most traction is a car about an SLK 55. Are you kidding me? This car is dog-ish. It's fun, it's got power and everything like that, but it's a slush bucket, crappy transmission. It doesn't have any. It looks silly. I mean, I'm over this thing. Ray, what do you think of this car? Are you one of the people that were commenting on our old video?
Ray, have you ever driven one of these?
You know, I have not that particular model, but when the SLKs, the early 2000 models, when we had a Mercedes Benz franchise at Brumos, and it was right next door to our Porsche store. And so, we would get crossover. People would come over and they would say, hey, you know, my wife is out test driving an SLK right now, and I might as well look at the Boxster while I'm over here. And so, you know, that was a real easy one to switch around back in the day. So, you know, by the time you get to the mid 2000s, 2006, 7, that type of thing for this generation,
Yeah, that's pretty much everyone's reaction. Unless you have one, these cars are like CrossFit or being a vegan. It's like, how do you know someone drives an SLK? They'll flip and tell you. That's the first thing out of their mouth. That's all they ever talk about. It's the only interesting thing that they have in their lives. I don't get these cars. Steve, what's this car going to bring?
So JP, our car closes in 1 day from now. It is currently at $12,500 on 14 bids. JP, I don't argue that this car is on the right platform. I think it's fine where it is on Doug DeMuro's platform, but I actually think this buyer would have gotten the most amount of money if they had the cojones and the courage to run it no reserve. But this is a reserve auction, and as such, JP, I am not confident this car is going anywhere. Yeah, John, I hate to say this, but again, our car is at $12,500, and my bid is $15,171 as a homage to the platform R171 in Mercedes speak. So $15,171. I think this car is DOA. I think the buyer thinks with the wheels and the tint and the fact that it's a 55, they're going to get 20 or 25 grand. And we've seen way nicer cars than this not get to those numbers. So this one with the mileage and the black paint in the desert, no chance, JP. $15,171 to you. What's your bid?
There are rabid fans for these cars. There is a legion of people that think this is the greatest sports car of all time, but there aren't enough of them to get this car sold. Doug DeMuro, I know this is the site for weird cars, but even he isn't weird enough to get this thing across the finish line. I am going to go over you at 16 grand, Deeb. I'm just going to park it slightly above you, but I would not be surprised if it didn't get another bid. I want to go to the ladies. A lot of the comments in here are saying, oh, this would be a great girlfriend car. Oh, the wife would like this car. I just think... Lindsay, what do you think of that BS? Is that just crap or what? What do you think of this car? She's like, what? I don't know. She's so bored by this car. She's like, screw it. I don't care.
I don't know. I'm going to be real honest. I was talking about mascara.
Mascara is more interesting than this car. I'll go to your husband. All right. Andy, you ready? What do you think? I'm going to leave it on Lindsay because we don't have a camera on you and everyone would rather look at her anyway.
Right. Absolutely. No, you guys, haters going to hate. You know, this is the epitome of no low ballers. I know what I got. It's the AMG that I think is what's going to drive the wannabe ballers to bid this up to the mid-teens.
Hot damn, you think that's happening. All right, Ray, what do you think?
Give us a number, Andy.
Did he give a number? He said mid-teens. Yeah, that's
not a number.
I'll get a 17.
17 it is. Thank you.
But fail to sell. Because no low ballers, I know what I got.
Yeah, this car ain't getting sold.
And Ray, I'm going to interrupt you just so you know. The herd is talking. Michael's at 19. Eric is at 18. Chris Carbine calls it a tin can. Buddha's at 14. Ross is at 18.5. Carbine's at 18.9. Brian's at 16.5. Gerd is at 17.9, and he gets the most Yahtzees. Yuri is at 17,777. Derek Whitaker, what's up, Derek, is at 14. Anthony Vieira is 18.5. Anthony's in studio, right? Isn't he? And then, but he said, Ross, I'll give you the bid and go to 20. There you go. So anyways, all right, Ray, now you've been given the cheat sheet of what everybody thinks. Nobody thinks this car is going to hit 20. What's your bid?
Okay, so I want to know how this game works because I think it's a $10,000 car and it's already exceeded that. So how does this work?
We're not talking about
auctions. How do you,
we're not talking about what we think. We're not, when it comes to the number, it's not about what we necessarily think it's worth. It's what we think someone else will pay for it. Is there an idiot out there that will pay more than 10 grand and by how much? You need a number.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So they're already doing it. I mean, you know, again, you said 85,000 miles, right? I mean, not 8,500. You said 85,000. Yeah. I mean, wow. Okay. So it's already over that. I mean, if we're just putting a number at it, I mean, it's already at 15. I mean, I'm just blown away by that. So any number.
It's at 12. Crazy. It's at 12,500, and you're welcome to guess that it doesn't get another bid, but you got to give us a number.
Okay, I'll call it 15 then. I think there'll probably people take it to that, but I just don't see it. I think it's,
Fair enough. There you go, JP. That's it. Ray's in the books. Here we go.
Ray
Go, Ray.
is in the books at 15 grand. All right.
Yeah.
What do you guys think this SLK55 will bring? I mean, this is as much as I'm ishing all over this car, it is a V8 wedged in a teeny little car. These
Right?
are actually a heck of a lot of fun. They are great drift cars. I mean, it was in Tokyo Drift, bro. So, I don't know. Is Vin Diesel out there going to buy this thing? Let us know what you guys think in the comments below. Hey, guys, I got to tell you about our friends Godden Porsche of Las Vegas and Godden Classic. If you're looking for a new Porsche or a classic, you got to call our friend Steve at Godden, this guy.
1989 linen gray metallic G50 cab.
Is that going to be for sale?
It is going to be for sale. The car only has 65,000 miles on it.
Save yourself the hassle of screwing around with all the auctions like we always talk about and just talk to Steve. He'll find you the classic Porsche you're looking for. Godden Porsche of Las Vegas. Hey guys, you're probably looking at your watch and wondering if Bid Nerds will ever end. So you better talk to our friends at Our Smiths to make sure your Rolex, Tag Heuer, AP, or any fine timepiece is in tip-top shape. Our Smiths, fine Swiss repair.
Several days later.
JP, the first car on the list was a 2007 Mercedes Benz SLK AMG, SLK55 AMG. This is the normally aspirated 5.4 liter V8 that is shoehorned into Mercedes' shortest wheelbase, smallest platform. Our car was listed on Cars and Bids out of Phoenix, Arizona, showing 85,000 miles on the odometer. And JP, you selected this because what you wanted to tell the nerd herd was that despite all the cool Singers and Carreras and all the Ferraris that we cover, that was the Mercedes Benz that we did about a couple of months ago that has gotten the most amount of views and the most amount of criticism and engagement from what arguably the SLK crowd out there. They continue to harass us. So you wanted to pick another one so we could have a laugh at their expense, because this car is just, you know, Mercedes went sort of all in to make a really cool hot rod, but it was not a commercial success, despite the fact that they continued to build this thing for several years. And it's not ever considered a serious sports car. This particular car is all black with some aftermarket wheels. It's got some Bilsting, let me read it to you, JP, Bilsting, B8 Performance Plus dampers with the 19H Ace alloy wheels. Again, 85,000 miles in Arizona. These cars aren't worth much if they're low miles. High mileage cars we knew would get hurt. With that in mind, JP, I started the bidding at 15,171 because it's the R171 platform in Mercedes nomenclature, and suggested that he should take the money if he made it that far. JP, you went just over me at $16,000. Ray Schaefer from Atlanta, Georgia, one of my colleagues at Broad Arrow Group and Haggerty Marketplace, joined us on the show as our third nerd. He guessed under me at $15,000. Andy from in town, the nicest guy in the city, and he's got a ribbon to prove it. He took the over at $17,000. And although Anthony Vieira of Our Smiths from the Spud Syndicate was in studio, his mic wasn't working enough for him to do a bid. So there you go. Sarah, it's a high mileage SLK, and despite the AMG badging and the hot rod motor, these cars are super soft in the secondary market, and a high mileage one we didn't think would go very far. So the spread is between $15,000 and $17,000. The platform is the junior varsity platform. Cars and Bids does not bring quite the same money on most cars as Bring Us Trailer does. What do you think this car would have hammered for just a couple of days ago?
Okay, so first of all, I am not a Mercedes person at all, knowing what the market's bringing. And I didn't know that I was following a Ray Schaefer. Good guy. I always say we see each other in the show circuit. Ray's a
That's
great
right.
guy. He's got
He
an
is.
amazing heritage history. I mean, he's a vast, amazing man of knowledge. See, 20, before you even mentioned your prices, 20 was in my head. And then you said that, you know, your 15.1 was high. And I'm like, oh, I'm really off. I mean, it's such a cute car and it's such a fun thing. But I also want to ask you, does it narrow down the market? Does it look more like a chick car, which means that you're only getting like half of the population that would be bidding on it?
That is true. That this car gets the hairdresser connotation and has since it was first came out. Yeah.
And if it's selling in Arizona, you definitely can only have the top down like for a portion of the year. So it's going to narrow it even further. Okay, I'm going to come in at, I think I'm going to go in low then. I'm going to come in at like 13.5. I'm just going to be the low baller.
13.5 is not a bad guess. This car actually did surprisingly well, JP. It hammered at $17,500 where it sold on 26 bids. I will start with the commentary and tell you, JP, that I actually think this person way overpaid for this car. We've seen cars with a third of the miles struggle to get to 22 or 25. So to reach to 17.5 for a car that doesn't have the stock dampers and the stock wheels, I mean, I don't think he'll get 17.5 out of it if he doesn't drive it for 5 years. You know what I'm saying? I just think he completely overpaid on the platform. I don't know the rest of the story on this, but that number, that's foolish money. So that's my opinion. JP, what do you think when you see that result?
Yeah, I mean, for that kind of money, you could get an SL55, an SL55 instead of the little cousin, the little baby sister SLK55.
Yeah.
Now, the SLK crowd will tell you that the SLK is the better car because it's smaller, lighter weight, handles better, all those things. Okay, whatever. But no, Sarah brought up is this a hairdresser's car? Again, we're bringing that up right now, and let me tell you, when we make the cutaway video, that's just the comments on this thing are going to be like, how dare you say it's a hairdresser's car? People are going to be so upset because it's not a hairdresser car. It's an old boomer guy car. This is the car for someone who is 65 and up, who thinks he's getting a sports car, but his hip doesn't work, so he doesn't want to use the clutch. That shift, those flappy paddles on there, when you shift one of these Tiptronic, it's worse than a Porsche Tiptronic, Sarah. It's like you shift it and, I don't know, look at your fine Swiss watch that you had repaired at Hoursmith and hit the little, if you've got a chrono button like I do here, look at that. I got the chrono. Okay, hit the button. And we're in second gear. Okay, that's how long it takes. It takes forever for these things. They're just, look, it's like I said on the previous episode, these cars are like yoga or CrossFit or vegans. How do you know someone's into any of those things? They'll tell you, right? The people that are in SLKs are insufferable, and they can have the cars, and good for them. They're cheap. So I don't know. What do you think now that you've seen the results, Sarah?
Oh my God! First of all, I'm cracking up at all of your definitions. Okay, I have to ask, how many times has an actual buyer tuned in after the car has sold and he's seen that you review about it?
That has happened quite a few times. I don't know what happens. I feel like people hear about the car being reviewed on Bid Nerds and they wind up sending it to the owners. And half the time they're happy because half the time we're saying good things about the car. But when we say things that aren't so good at the car, they blame us. Oh, that's why my action didn't go. No, we've never actually been blamed for a poor result. But you know, what we do, for those of you who are, again, new to the channel, a lot of times this is the live episode, right? So you're watching this right now. This is what we're saying. There's about a 5-second delay. But what I'll do is I'll usually make clip episodes where I'll marry our prediction with the reconciliation. So we'll have one standalone video for this SLK. And I'm telling you, we have thousands and thousands of views on the one we did recently. And it actually wasn't that recently. It was almost a year ago. And every freaking day I get a comment, another comment on that video. People just find the SLK. So the SLK community, they're sitting around at the Applebee's or they're at the SLK get together at Golden Corral and they're like, those cars are Bid Nerds. Look, guys, you should be happy because we're lowering the value of these cars, which means it's easier for you guys to get them, right? So we're lowering the barrier to entry so you can grow your SLK crew. All right, we're going to move on. That's way too much about an SLK. What do you guys think of the results of this little SLK55? Was 17 grand plus all the money for this 85,000 mile car? Or was some boomer going, hey, this is the last car I'm ever going to buy. Who cares how many miles it's got on it? Let us know what you think in the comments below. Hey guys, thanks for watching this clip of the Bid Nerds podcast. Play along with us live every Sunday and Wednesday night at 6:30 p.m. on YouTube. And see if your bids stack up to the rest of the nerd herd in the chat live. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Nerd! Get those nerds!